penny at 378 and 3/4. May unchanged at 387 and a quarter. July corn up a quarter penny at 395 and a quarter. September up 3/4 at 397 and 3/4. March soybeans closed up 5 3/4 at 9.15. May up 6 cents at 9.28 3/4. July up 6 at 9.41 3/4. August beans up 5 3/4 at 9.46 3/4. March wheat closed up 4 3/4 at 5.26. Soybean meal down 10 cents a ton at 312.90. February live cattle up 42 cents at 125.55. April up 42 at 126.50. January feeder cattle up 197 at 143.02. March up 215 at 143.65. February lean hogs down 70 cents at 60.77. April down 125 at 64.85. I'm Dwayne Murley.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge 237. Give it up, J.D. Schulten. Your 15 minutes have been up for quite a while now. In the weather, sunny the rest of today, a high maybe of 30. Overnight, a chance of snow, low of 7. Wind chill factor temperatures 5 to 10 below. Tomorrow, a little snow in the morning, otherwise mostly cloudy, then becoming gradually sunny and cold with temperatures falling to below 0 by late afternoon. Could be 25 degrees to 30 degrees below 0 wind chill factor temperature. On Friday, a good chance of snow before noon, mostly cloudy and cold with a high of 8. Wind chill factor temperatures once again below 0. On Saturday, it'll be sunny with a high of 16. Sunday, snow is likely. Mostly cloudy with a high of 21. On Monday, a cloudy sky. Windy, our high will be 16 degrees. Tuesday, sunny and cold with a high only of 4. And when we're talking sunny and cold and windy, we're talking a pretty good wind chill factor temperature. Right now in Fort Dodge, 27 degrees at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street here in Fort Dodge. You can reach Gunderson Funeral Home or Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. Joe Kirby has died at the age of 63. There will be a funeral for Mr. Kirby at 10:30 in the morning at Sacred Heart Church. Francis Bednar has passed away at the age of 86. Philo Francis P. Bednar, 86 years old, died in his sleep on Saturday at his home. There will be a funeral service for Mr. Bednar, and that's going to happen Saturday, January the 26th, here in town. Joe Straub of Algona has passed away. Mr. Straub died at the age of 89. He was a longtime district court judge. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. It's 2:39 at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. 27 degrees. City Councilman Terry Menke is here. If you have a question or comment for Councilman Menke, 515-955-1400. We'll talk with Dr. Menke in just a couple of minutes.
Hi, I'm Robert. I have 4 kids, 11 grandkids, 5 great-grandkids. I live with HIV. It took me a long time for my wife to convince me that it was okay to ask for help from people who understand what I'm going through. So I reached out to the Iowa Department of Public Health and found out I qualified for Ryan White services. The support is quite impressive. They help me with medication and medical care, financial stuff, transportation, counseling, and even housing if I needed it. They treat me with respect and help me to understand that I'm not alone. Did you know there are over 3,000 Iowans living with HIV? I didn't have a clue. But I know now that how we take care of ourselves, how we manage our care, are 2 of the most important ways we can live our best lives. I'm living with HIV, not dying from it. Why wait? Reach out for testing and care services at stophiviowa.org.
This year, I'm gonna lose weight.
This year, I'm gonna eat healthy.
This is the year I finally quit smoking.
This year, I'm getting new flooring from Jim's Carpet One.
Bring in the new year with new flooring from Jim's Carpet One and make a resolution you'll keep. Stop in today and save on beautiful carpet, hardwood, laminate, and tile floors. Jim's Carpet One has you covered from inspiration to installation, and they guarantee your satisfaction. Make a New Year's resolution you can keep. Bring in the new year with new flooring from Jim's Carpet One, across from Decker Trucking, Fort Dodge.
Mom, Dad, I'm getting married. That's wonderful, dear.
Congratulations. So have you decided on a date?
Yes, this Saturday.
What? Are you serious? We need to plan. There's so much to do.
What about the church? The flowers, music, food, inviting everyone?
You would not want to be faced with those hurried decisions then. Why do that to your family with your own final arrangements? I invite you to sit down with us at Gunderson's to pre-plan your funeral. Pre-planning allows you to make thoughtful decisions with a clear mind. Give us a call at Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services, Fort Dodge.
Take the worry out of winter with a winter weather advisor on KVFD, brought to you by Community Health Center Fort Dodge, offering dental, behavioral health, and general medical assistance for men, women, and children. They're committed to your well-being. Community Health Center. Get to know them. And Creative Cakes, making life sweet with espresso, lunch, gourmet cupcakes, and other sweet treats. Creative Cakes in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge. They make life sweet. Listen for the winter weather advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
I'm Tiffany Haddish, and I use Groupon so much, they made me the spokesperson. A lot of guys ask me if it's cool to use Groupon for Valentine's Day. So here's the deal. If I catch my Valentine using a Groupon for something like a couple's massage, fondue, or an escape room, he better get used to me because I'm going to be around a while. Trust me, the ultimate aphrodisiac is a man that knows the value of $1. Men, if you're out there, download the app and save. Groupon.
We're live on the red carpet, waiting for the next generation Credenz soybean. There he is.
Oh, Ed, look, it's Credenz Liberty Link GT27.
I know, Edna. He's got elite genetics.
You gotta love his 4 bushel per acre yield advantage.
And he's both Liberty and glyphosate herbicide tolerant.
Definitely the year's hottest performer. Ask your Credenz retailer about the new Credenz Liberty Link GT27 soybeans.
Grow smart with BASF. Always read and follow label directions.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
Can I ask you something, but without you taking it the wrong way?
Sure.
Are you stupid?
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Do you ever get tired of watching bad things happen to people?
Sticking up for you when no one else will.
Woo, good.
That's right. I'm sticking up for you when nobody else will, and I mean nobody. AM 1400 KVFD, the Voice of Fort Dodge. I'm here with noted hip-hop artist Terry Menke, who is also on the city council. I don't know why he's wasting his talents and considerable intelligence on the mere city council seat here in Fort Dodge, but he is, and we should all be thankful. So let the church say amen. Terry Menke is in the studio. How are you, Terry?
I'm here.
All right.
Trying to live up to your expectations. And
You've already done it, Terry.
Failing miserably.
Well, you did. Well, you so you didn't bring Kim Alstad.
Well, I could have.
Well, why didn't you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, my ratings would have gone through the roof. All would have been better. The radio station would have realized a gigantic leap in revenue.
If you would have had just one more person listening, that would have been like 100% increase.
Well, that's right. Yep. Mom has one of her friends listening now in the neighborhood.
That's good.
When the friend is awake in the middle of the day. Because, she has to take a nap every 20 minutes or so.
I don't blame her.
I don't either.
Yeah. So anyway, we have been addressing the parking issue. I'm sure you love, and John Daniel, I'm sure loves this.
Did we get a camera to do this?
No, we're working on it. We have a meeting tomorrow. I think the downtown business owners.
What sneaky little way to raise revenue did we come up with this time?
Actually, I don't think that's really part of the thing. Is stabilization and proper usage of what we have.
Stabilization?
Yes, that's a great new word. But, I've been advocating for some time that we look at something other than the manual method that we have. I think the license plate readers are the way to go. Modern technology, apparently nobody in the state of Iowa has them, which is kind of surprising, but it's a very efficient way where our people can actually scan license plates driving around, and they will automatically give us the GPS location, how long the car has been there. And it will also identify those 1,253 people that have outstanding parking tickets that have failed to pay them. It will also identify them. And I'm not sure what it will do, if we'll generate another ticket as a general reminder, if we'll have the vehicle towed if they owe us too much money, or, I don't know if we'll put, those blocks on the wheels or whatever to make their life more miserable. That would be fun. Yeah.
So you're not doing anything sneaky.
Nope, not sneaky.
Seems a little sneaky to me.
I mean, as far as I can tell, I think the license plate reading is probably the best way to go, the best use of time, best use of money. As far as parking meters themselves, the discussion is either to add more on Central Avenue and some of the tributaries downtown, or to take out what's already there. So if we take out what's already there, we would lose a revenue stream. And obviously that money is used to maintain and improve our parking lots. And we still have
a revenue stream.
A revenue stream.
Right.
Yeah.
You mean a tax?
That's kind of,
yeah. I mean,
but if you're going to use parking, I mean, you go to the mall, and even though you don't
that
pay
old
for it,
song
yep,
again.
the same
yeah.
old song. They
Same
pay
old
for
song.
it. I
Now,
mean,
if you go to the mall,
I don't know what you do at the mall right at the moment.
I thought the mall was free parking. That was one of their
but
that was
again,
one of their draws.
But
to the mall.
somebody's paying for that. I mean, indirectly, you're paying for it.
That's weak, Terry. Terry, stop it.
Is
It's
that weak?
It's beneath you. It's weak and unconvincing.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
it's a ripoff. You can say that.
I'm-
that would be more direct.
I'm just
and
I'm
honest.
just repeating what I've heard.
Yeah, I know you are. A cheap ripoff of the citizens of Fort Dodge. Taxation without representation. Taxation without the consent of the governed. On and on and on. Shall I go on?
You're going to throw tea off of a ship in the Des
I'm
Moines River?
getting
too?
ready to.
Okay.
Getting
I know.
ready to.
That'd be a fun way to watch you do that. But anyway, parking continues to be a problem downtown. Not necessarily a problem parking, but just the the business owners and the people that shop downtown. Nobody likes parking meters. I think you've maybe picked up on that. A nickel here, a dime there. I mean, it's not really a real expensive mechanism, but I'm not really sure it drove McGregor's Furniture out of business either, despite her comments. But I think parking is never going to make anybody happy. But again, downtown parking has been a discussion point for a number of years. The meters that were put downtown a few years ago under Tim Carmody's watch basically were kind of a test run. And I think we've established now that does generate money, and it is a way to fund future parking lot improvements. Expanding the parking meters obviously will draw more revenue into the downtown area, but it's also going to be costly. We're going to have to pay to put them in. We're going to have to pay for the meters, and we expand the enforcement, which is going to take a little bit more time and effort for our 2 parking people that we have. And again, if we do have the license plate readers, we can more or less watch and monitor traffic and make sure that people are moving their cars properly and we're getting the revenue in that we need. But the big elephant in the room, if you want to call it that, is the future development of the Warden Plaza, which we talked about earlier. If that Warden Plaza does develop, then the parking situation downtown is going to change dramatically. So we kind of have to keep an eye on that over the next couple of years as that development shows up and as more people come down for the retail aspect of the Warden. But I think, we're going to talk about it. We're not really sure if we're going to be able to what we're going to be able to do with meters in the lots, if they will remain. We still have lot permits, which you can buy for $15 or $30. The meters in the lots will probably remain just simply because it is controls the flow and outflow of some of those lots, which is a big deal. So your question, we keep wondering what we can do to improve downtown, and then are parking meters attractive? When you look at downtown Fort Dodge and you look at the plans for a facade program and the way we're going to change the look of downtown with Central Avenue hopefully being repaved here shortly. We're just going to have to look at all these different options.
Let's go to the phones. AM 1400 KVFT. Good afternoon. You are on the air with Councilman Menke.
Good afternoon. How you guys doing today?
Real good, man.
Good. Hey, I don't know how much you remember, but a whole bunch of years ago, they were talking about enclosing Central Avenue and making that something like a strip mall type of deal. And I realize that that's gone by the wayside long ago, but my thoughts at that time, and I think some other people's too, were if you do something like that, is to build a huge parking ramp somewhere nearby and then have like a shuttle service, little trolley cars or something that would run up and down around Central Avenue, and people could just get on and off wherever, and then take them back to the parking ramp every so often. And I'm just wondering if some kind of a central parking area couldn't be devised, especially around that Warden area, so that could be kind of incorporated into something like that. I'll hang up and let you guys talk about it.
All right, good enough. Thank you for your question. Yes, I don't think I have much to say about this.
Yeah,
since you're the man with all the answers.
I don't. I think downtown park or downtown plazas, shopping plazas work well if you've got the right businesses downtown.
Mm-hmm.
For us to actually close Central Avenue and create that probably is a little premature and probably expensive. I'm not sure how the business owners downtown would feel about that. That'd be a survey, I guess, for Main Street and the Main Street group. As far as a parking facility, we have looked at that. There's a couple places that we've talked about putting parking facilities. The intermodal transportation hub that we have been working on next to the Warden Plaza was one option, but those parking lot facilities are about $25,000 per space, so they're quite expensive.
All right, let's go to the phones. AM 1400 KVFD. Good afternoon. You're on the air with Councilman Menke.
Yeah, I've always wondered how much money a year do those parking meters bring in downtown?
About 100,000.
100,000?
Yeah. That's, there's a little bit of cost associated with that. There's one police salary paid out of that. There's a couple of parking attendants. The actual cash flow is, I think, about 150. Let me see. I've got the numbers here somewhere. But
is that after the people are paid, or is that total before they're paid?
That's probably before they're paid. I mean, actual profit from that is not that high. Like I said, I've got the numbers here somewhere buried in all my papers, but it depends month to month as far as, people would pay their tickets. That would really help quite a bit. They've got, 1,200 tickets outstanding, which is a lot of money. I can tell you through the end, I've got my parking revenue report right here for December 2015. We're making about $500 a month, $572.87 was so-called profit after expenditures. Revenue was $10,395 and expenses were $98.22. So we don't make a killing.
Is it actually worth it then to keep them in there?
Well, trust me, those discussions have been made. The theory behind parking meters and parking in general is to keep things moving, because a lot of times if we don't keep things moving, then business owners and employees will park in front of the businesses, making it very difficult for people who want to utilize it. And so those are discussions we've had. And again, that's part of do we take the meters out and just enforce a 2-hour limit? Or do we put more meters in and get more money to offset some of the expense? But, we've got a little bit of money tucked away for parking lot repairs. But again, if we do move into, new parking meters and whatever, that money is going to be eaten up by the expenses that we're going to run into. So, the month of November, we made $2,900 profit. So let me look here back another month. We made $12,000 profit in October. So, it's probably averaging, and again, it goes up and down because of traffic downtown with the shopping around Christmas time. So
the profit is after maintenance even too?
Yep. It's after profits, after maintenance. Yep.
Oh.
Yep.
Doesn't sound like a whole lot. But...
No.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot. All right, AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for that. At least you have guts to come on the air and actually respond to constituents, unlike some other people I might know, like the entire city council. Feerick shows up here. Do you need to bring Allstott in?
I could bring him in.
Will he feel safe if he's with you?
Probably not.
All right.
But anyway, parking is we talked.
What would Halter have to say to you, suppose? Oh, yeah.
No, you're picking on all the people I have to work with. That's not fair.
No, it's
But
just
anyway,
terrible. They can come in here.
We're actually looking at, we're talking about parking in downtown, and downtown I think is, important. Again, the Warden Plaza is important, but we also have that, the empty mall out there that we need to look at.
The empty mall.
There's some discussion out there about actually working with some
Another high moment in Fort Dodge Messenger history. The mall is doing wonderful. Oh, here's the next column. Yes, Foot Locker's closing after 40 years.
Yeah, that wasn't good. But anyway, we're looking at the possibility of using like a retail headhunter to have them look at the community and assess the needs of the community. I mean, everybody has needs and wants of what they want. I mean, I'd like to get a Panera Bread here in town. Old Navy's been mentioned several times. A lot of these big retail stores, probably would be interested in Fort Dodge if we could prove to them that we are becoming the retail center that we once were. I think in days gone by when everybody in Northwest Iowa came to Fort Dodge to shop, those days have kind of gone away thanks to the internet and some of the mega mall situations. I think malls are still viable to a certain degree. And again, I think our mall can be rejuvenated by addressing the new citizens that are moving into our community, the Hispanic population in particular. A lot of different stores, a lot of different activities and restaurants could be focused at certain groups. And I think with proper management at the mall, and I know they've got some good people out there, I'm not sure the new owners have really stepped up to the plate like they had promised. I wish they were in town and maybe actually looking at what's going on and addressing some of the issues. I think having empty stores and empty storefronts and dead space basically isn't helping anybody, them in particular, unless they have so much money they like to write it off. But we are looking at retail development. And again, we've been approached by some different organization groups that basically reach out to franchisees.
Well, wait, you guys are showing leadership here?
Absolutely.
When did that happen?
It started last week after you yelled at me. No, this is ongoing. I mean, this is
ongoing leadership.
Ongoing. Yep. But again, it's tough because there's so many different factors involved with this. I mean, I recycle a lot, and I'm sure you do too, and most people do, but you go to the recycling boxes and there's a lot of Amazon boxes in there. Amazon is really, although it cost him $140 billion to get rid of his wife. So, I mean, he may not have as much money as he used to have, but Amazon has really influenced retail. You can't find bookstores, you can't find record stores. Virtually everything that's out there is available in 2 days from, a click of a finger. So, I mean, retail, people still like to touch shoes. They still like to touch clothing. They like to try things on.
That's you and I that like to touch things like that.
See, once again, you're going down the path.
I see. Now you just, that's just your dirty mind. I don't want to get into what you and Allstott have been touching.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. But those are people our age that
I
like to
think
go.
It's still young people still do it.
The mall used to be an experience,
and it could be again. I mean, with activities and proper planning, I think there's a great potential out there. But again,
activities, what you mean, like cosmic bowling?
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be great.
Well, look at the empty storefronts now. Could we convert that into a meeting room? Bob Singer.
Frankly, we probably should have looked at a movie theater and a bar out there.
Well, and part of the plans a number of years ago was to knock the Sears building down and actually put in a hotel combination with a swimming facility.
Another hotel, really?
Well, this was talks that were going on. But again, Bob Singer, I remember 3 or 4 years ago, came on the air and said his next primary focus was going to be to bring a convention center to Fort Dodge.
Bob rocks.
Bob disappeared.
Bob disappeared?
Yeah, he disappeared.
Oh, that's
I'm
right.
disappeard. He was supposed to be bringing a convention center. But
Bob Thode sat down, and we haven't seen Singer since.
But anyway,
he has disappeared under a huge pile of Thode.
There's opportunities out there as a indoor concert facility, an indoor banquet facility. I mean, there's a lot of times and places that we could utilize something, and the mall has the space and it's got the ability to do that. But again, I don't think the mall owners have been really that cognizant of our needs. I think we need to.
Oh, they're cognizant. They just don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Why should they care about the needs of the people in the town where they're one of their malls?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't.
Again, it's a big chunk of real estate. Blessing Brothers has the Sears property. We've been working with them, trying to convince them that they need to tear it down, and the possibility using TIF money. No, well, why would you? Because it's still viable the way it is.
3:00 in the afternoon. This is KVFD in Fort Dodge, Iowa.
An ultimatum in Washington. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The president and the Speaker of the House in a new shutdown showdown over the State of the Union. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she never thought the government would still be shut down when she extended an invitation earlier this month for President Trump to deliver the State of the Union address on January 29th. But in a new letter to the president, Pelosi says the House will not consider a resolution authorizing that speech in the House chamber until government is open. Both the House and Senate must agree to a resolution to allow the president to use the House chamber. The Speaker's letter is a response to President Trump, who wrote it would be sad for the country if the State of the Union wasn't delivered on time, on schedule, and on location. Lisa.
And Jared, President Trump speaking moments ago.
The State of the Union speech has been canceled by Nancy Pelosi because she doesn't want to hear the truth. She doesn't want the American public to hear what's going on.
The White House has said a speech could still happen somewhere else. A shooting in a bank under investigation in Florida, where Fox's Eben Brown is live.
Yeah, Lisa, law enforcement will be telling us more this hour, but Fox News can confirm some people have at least been wounded by gunfire inside the SunTrust Branch Bank in the town of Sebring, Florida. It's east of Bradenton in the middle of the peninsula. Police ran to the bank after a man called them saying he fired his gun inside the bank. He eventually surrendered to law enforcement as they entered the building, Lisa.
Thanks, Eben. Venezuela's controversial elected president, Nicolas Maduro, just announcing he is cutting diplomatic ties with the U.S., giving American diplomats 72 hours to get out. This after the U.S. and Canada recognized the country's opposition leader as the new head of state, Juan Guaido, declaring himself interim president earlier today. This is Fox News.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher mortgage payments. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates so you can buy a home with certainty. It's called Rate Shield, and here's how it works. With Rate Shield, you can lock your interest rate while you shop for a new home. So if rates go up, you don't have to worry. And here's the best part. If rates go down, you get the lower rate. With Rate Shield, we really have you covered. Here are more reasons why you'll want to work with America's largest mortgage lender. For 9 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 5th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Rate Shield. Another way we can save you money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Back to work day for striking teachers in Los Angeles.
Parents and students sounded a bit scarred by the strike Wednesday when teachers went back to the classrooms.
We must never again ask 80% of the LAUSD students who qualify for free and reduced lunches to sit home until a strike is over.
They praised teachers for raising awareness about classroom concerns, but some, including students, said it's time now for the district to find new revenue streams.
We call on city, county, state, civic, business, and philanthropic leadership to step up and commit to securing long-term investments.
They also urged other parents to be more involved in their kids' education. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Meantime, teachers in Denver, also in the midst of a contract dispute, voting to go on strike for the first time in more than 2 decades. Netflix helping users to recommend their favorites to friends on Instagram.
The latest update to the Netflix app for iOS users will let folks share the movie or TV show titles they're binge watching directly to Instagram stories. The feature works with all titles, not just Netflix originals. Folks can then add stickers, text, or user polls to digital posters. For now, the feature is only available for iPhone users, but the company is looking to expand to Android. Reps saying in a statement, "We're always on the lookout for ways to make it easier for members to share the Netflix titles they're obsessing about and help them discover something new to watch." Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
So recapping remarks moments ago by the president during a meeting at the White House, he says he will look at alternatives for an address to the nation after a dispute with the House Speaker involving the government shutdown over the State of the Union, which had been planned for next Tuesday. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says no resolution to the shutdown, no State of the Union speech in the House chamber. The Dow up 171 at the close. This is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Less than 2 weeks after Congress repudiated his comments, Representative Steve King will hold the first of his promised 39 Iowa town hall meetings. King announced Wednesday he'll delay a planned meeting Thursday, but hold another event Saturday morning in the small northwest Iowa city of Primgar. Although he's been elected to Congress 9 times, King has rarely held such meetings. He prefers private gatherings with groups, saying public meetings attract out-of-state protesters who object to his conservative views on topics like immigration, race relations, and abortion. King promised to hold meetings in each of his district's 39 counties after narrowly winning re-election last November. On January 15th, the House voted 424-1 to rebuke King for his comments about white supremacy. King supported the measure of disapproval. This week, the Fort Dodge City Council reviewed the budgets for the fire department and ambulance, parks and recreation, and human resources. The budget for the fire department is $1,544,970 with an anticipated revenue of $1.3 million. On July 1st, 2018, the fire department took over the ambulance service from Unity Point Health Trinity Regional Medical Center. City Manager David Fierk yesterday on the Divine Intervention Show said the change has been a positive one.
I think it's running really well. I got to give a lot of credit to our firefighters, the ones that have been here for a while, and they've stepped up and done a lot more work now. It's great to have a new group of paramedics and EMTs. I think it's working out pretty well.
Fierk also talked about the Parks and Recreation budget.
Parks and Recreation budget total is about $1.6 million. But the interesting thing is about 2/3 of that, or $1.1 million, is from revenues, from not the tax supported stuff. The fees paid at Lakeside, the fees paid to Rosedale Rapids, the other revenue generated from Harlan Rogers are big components of revenue.
Fierk says City Council will have the final department presentations next Monday with a final wrap up on February 11th. State Auditor Rob Sands says energy usage will be flagged in every audit report his office issues for state and local government agencies,
to make sure that they know where they're starting so they can measure their progress in energy efficiency.
Sands spoke briefly yesterday to a crowd at the Capitol for Energy Efficiency Day on the Hill. Sands says the kind of benchmarking he's suggesting shouldn't be controversial.
And if you want to manage the amount of taxpayer money that we are spending on energy issues, what you first have to do is measure the amount that we are doing and find ways to save it. So benchmarking really is taking a snapshot of your energy use and figuring out where are we right now. And then once you know where you are, you can figure out where you need to go.
Sands says his office will work with the Iowa Energy Office to identify the best money-saving measures.
You have a tremendous ability to save taxpayer money through improving energy efficiency in Iowa.
Sand, a Democrat, was elected state auditor in November, and he was sworn into office 3 weeks ago. J.D. Scholten, the Democrat who gave Republican Congressman Steve King a surprisingly close race in November, was at the State House today to launch a new campaign.
I would like to introduce our new nonprofit, Working Hero Iowa.
The group's aim is to increase the number of low-income Iowans who claim the earned income tax credit on their state and federal tax returns. Scholten says he got the idea for his Working Heroes Iowa effort from a California man who runs a similar group and who endorsed Scholten's 2018 congressional campaign. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Mainly clear skies this afternoon with a high of 27. Winds out of the southwest 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overcast skies tonight 7 above. Partly cloudy tomorrow, chance of flurries. High temperatures reach up to 7 above. High of 8 Friday with a chance for snow. 16 mainly cloudy Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 27.
Iowa hog farmers have a lot to be proud of.
Proud of the quality products we put on tables around the world.
Proud of the strides we make to protect Iowa's natural resources.
Proud of the number of Iowans we're able to employ in safe workplaces.
Proud to protect and promote animal well-being in everything we do.
Iowa pork producers are proud because they do it right. And that's something all Iowans can take pride in.
Sponsored by Iowa's pork producers and their pork checkoff.
Iowa's pork producers work hard daily to produce safe, affordable food. Through the industry's We Care initiative, hog farmers are firmly committed to doing things right. That means keeping their pigs safe and healthy, safeguarding natural resources, protecting public health, and building strong communities. Producers fully understand the importance of pork quality, responsible production, and continuous improvement. It's the moral and ethical thing to do. Sponsored by Iowa's pork producers and their pork checkoff.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice
and the American way of life.
with 60 rounds of freedom.
You're saying a lot of words really fast that mean nothing.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. It was tough to do. I had to beg and plead, get down on my knees. But Councilman Terry Menke has agreed to stay another 20 minutes. And Greg Hoare, by the way, who is usually here, is down in Des Moines at the Pork Congress, where I was going to be. But I listened to the weather forecast the guy on the radio was giving, and I scared myself right out of going. I thought it was going to be another snowmageddon situation. It turned out, at least not in our area, it turned out not bad at all. Not bad at all. I mean, I could have gone. I don't know. Maybe it's a lot worse in Des Moines. If you've seen,
a lot worse.
Yeah, now, how do you know that?
I watched the noon news.
Oh, you watch the noon news.
Noon news.
You know, for a man with a full-time job, you have a lot of time.
Well, unfortunately, that's true. I was actually, I was out at the animal shelter. I had to go get some tables because we're doing a pack tonight out at White Transfer for the backpack program. And actually had a meeting that started at 3:00 that I was just notified was canceled because not enough people apparently could make it because they're working. But, you know, I crossed off my afternoon to go to this meeting. And
you whine better than the other councilmen. You know that?
I'm sitting here talking to you instead.
Are you on a whining committee all by yourself?
I
Because
could be.
you do that better than anybody.
I could be the chairman and honoree. I might give myself an award.
Dean could be the committee of one who votes no for everything.
No, that's not true.
Halter can be the committee of one who completely loses his cool and throws things.
No, he hasn't thrown anything.
He hasn't thrown anything?
Not
He
that
acts
I
like
know.
he wants to, though, isn't he?
No, I just, no.
Dr. Dave there, he can be the champion of reason, but I haven't seen Dave as the voice of reason on the council lately. He's kind of disappeared. What happened to Dave anyway?
He's still there.
Is
He's a
Dan
busy
showing
guy.
up at meetings for him?
No, no, I don't. Wow, that's a good question. Side by side, I think.
Because
I could
you
tell
know,
apart.
Dave stopped showing up at the show here. He stopped really commenting in the messenger.
I don't know. I have no idea.
You can't answer the question.
I can't answer the question.
What do you think Kim should be a committee of?
Kim,
All stock.
fiat currency, and
Fiat currency?
Yeah, that would be a good one for
That
him.
would be a good one.
Yep. I don't know. I don't like picking on people. But anyway, thanks for the extra 20 minutes.
Wait a minute. What did you just say? Since I've known you, you've been taking cheap shots at practically everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Congressman Steve King will be here at 3:30.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
That's right.
I hope I get a chance to listen.
That's right.
As I'm driving around town looking for things to do. Anyway, we touched a little bit. I mean, we've had some interest recently from the animal shelter. The animal shelter is down on 32nd Street. They provide a vital service to the community. They are not supported by tax dollars. And they have reached out to me, and because I've been a supporter of the animal shelter for some time, what we can do to address, what services they can provide basically to help the city do the jobs that they need to. And we do have feral cats. And I mean, the cats are a problem. They do survive very well. They are a wild animal. There are several of them in the downtown area. Some out behind Old Boston's in the Top Hat area, your favorite place to hang out. There's some on Avenue C.
I've hung out in there a few times. Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Yeah,
the weird thing when you get old and you go to the Top Hat, the girls flock to you because they think you have money. 'Cause some of the other younger guys in there look like they just got out of the can. You know.
What is that song? Lion Eyes. I just heard that. Yeah, I just heard somebody was commentating on that. But anyway, we're trying to figure out ways that we can address the feral cat situation. Iowa State does have a spay and neuter program where they will actually come up and spay and neuter animals. We don't have a place to more or less collect them, and I'm not sure the animal shelter wants to be a facility where you take feral cats. But we do need to work with veterinarians in town and with the animal shelter and also the people that are feeding the cats to control the cats a little bit better than what they have been. Stray dogs are an issue too. I don't think it's as quite as big of an issue as what the cat situation is, but cats do a lot of damage. They do reproduce on a fairly regular basis.
I have a lot of feral cats in my neighborhood.
Yeah, and they do control the
Those
bird
cats are
population.
out there having sex.
Making noise.
Yuck.
Yeah. But anyway, it is.
Why do cats get to do it and I don't?
Have you looked in the mirror? But anyway.
Oh, I never take shots. I never take shots. Okay, Romeo, come on with it.
Yeah. But anyway.
I'll check with Pam on that.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, we're looking at this. And again, I don't think, I don't have the support. I don't think of fellow councilman on helping nonprofit with anything like feral cat situation. So we're trying to work out a situation where we can actually get some type of help to the animal shelter with this feral cats. But again, if you do have them, and I've been guilty of that too. I had a female cat that was dumped, that was pregnant, and ended up with a bunch of really cute babies.
Were you the father? Or?
No, I wasn't.
Okay,
No,
good.
didn't look anything like me. But anyway, I mean, cats are cats are cute. People like them, but don't feed them.
Feral cats are wild cats.
Yeah, they're wild.
Remember
They'll
that?
eat your face.
Remember that situation we had a few years ago where that lady had.
Yep, and it's right down there on the bottom of Avenue C and what is it, G Street, and there's still several cats down there where the old bridge was, the old Viaduct West Side Tap. That's probably more your style. Right down there, we used to have a recycling container, and there was a lot of cats down there. There's not as many as before, but drive by there, and there's plates of food put out there. So somebody is feeding them and encouraging them, and obviously we don't like to see that. They're living in the storm
I
sewers
posted a
now.
bunch of pictures of those houses down on G Street.
Yeah.
Andy Fritz got pretty mad at me about that.
Good old Andy.
Oh, no, it wasn't Andy. It was Mark Crimmins.
Mark
I keep
Crimmins.
getting those two confused all the time.
They don't look alike.
Oh,
They're
really?
about the same height.
Yeah, they are.
Last time I
Okay,
looked, Mark
well.
didn't have a beard and didn't have any piercings. So
No, well, that's true. I should look for the nose ring.
yeah. So anyway, the silo art, moving on and covering my list of things that I didn't have time to talk about. The silo art, if you haven't had a chance to get down there, it is done. It's a beautiful addition to our community. It's kind of step one in that whole Northwest River district. We did receive a grant from Deerdorf to look at pathway benches, lighting, maybe a future trailhead down there. So this spring, hopefully we'll be able to get some walkways around that silo, and we've got a lot of attention, not only locally but also across the state for that. It is the tallest one in the state, and a lot of people are questioning why they can't do that in their community too. Guido is gone. Guido Van Helten, I don't know where he is now, but I think he worked through some really terrible weather. I'm really surprised that he was able to do the work that he did. But it's, I think, a very proud addition to our Northwest River District. We want to thank the people that stepped up and helped with that. There was no city money involved in that, just like there was no city money in the parade sculpture on 8th Street over there, and there's no city money in the roundabouts. And so those are all funded by grants and donations. I realize that the public arts, the Art Council of Iowa is supported by tax funds, and they did give us some money. So indirectly, taxpayers probably had a little bit of input in that. But again, a majority of that was donations. So we are looking at a public arts ordinance where we do a capital improvement project. 1% of the total of that capital improvement would be set aside for public art improvements. Half of it would be for obtaining and placing public art, and the other half would be for the maintenance. We've got a couple of sculptures down in front of the library that are kind of green, and I don't think they're intended to be green. And cleaning up those sculptures, I know we talked to Eric Anderson and Hope Thayer over at Blandon about doing some of that. So we might, if we get the money, we'll be doing some cleanup of some of our public art. So the other thing we're looking at is the traffic control boxes, those big stainless steel boxes you see on the corners where we do have the turn signals. Applying some kind of paint or graphics to those would really make them look a lot better. And I think we're going to be doing that too in the near future as we get our funding approved. So
You seem awfully convinced that we're going to get the funding approved.
well, I think with the public art thing, with all these
Going
improvements.
to get another camera car or what?
Yeah, that'd be fun, wouldn't it? I haven't seen that camera car for a while. I don't know where it's at. The other thing we talked about kind of in passing the other night with Lori with their Parks and Rec budget on Monday night was the shortage of basketball and baseball practice facilities in the community. Basketball courts have been a little bit of an issue in the last few years and continue to be an issue. And I've heard from a couple of the coaches that practice fields for baseball are also a concern. I think Sunkist has got the potential for having some practice fields down there. I'm not sure they would be lit, but at least you could put a field down there. We would probably have to work that into our Central River District plans. But again, we have a lot of requests for practice fields, and Harlan Rogers is pretty busy. I don't know if we can actually, put more teams out there for practice at the same time they're trying to do games or not. But I think a couple other practice fields throughout town would be beneficial. And Parks and Rec obviously has got a lot of that going on, and hopefully we can address that in the near future. So one other thing, if you've been downtown, you'll notice the bricks downtown on the downtown sidewalks are extremely icy. They're
always icy.
I know it. They're terrible. And it's a bad thing that we have those bricks down there. I'm surprised that, it's a real liability issue, and, throwing sand and salt on them deteriorates them. There's numerous places that if we had a lot of traffic downtown, I'm sure we'd have a lot more complaints about them. But the bricks, I think, do need to come out at some point. I would like to see the downtown sidewalks evaluated. Those are the property owner's responsibility. That's not the city responsibility. I know it's a lot of money. We have been talking about what we're going to do on Central Avenue. It does not require any stormwater or really sanitary or water changes. So basically a mill and overlay. So it's relatively inexpensive to beautify Central Avenue. I'm not sure those bump outs are really beneficial for us. They were put in to reduce the transit time from one side to another. I think if you timed yourself, it might save you 1/10 of a second or something. But I think those bump outs could come out, and it would be a lot easier for snow removal, and then get rid of those bricks. And then, we have approved up on 13th Street and Central Avenue. They took the bricks out up there and used color concrete, and I think that looks a lot better than what the bricks do. And of course, those bricks do tend to settle, and they're icy, and they don't hold up very well. It seems like every year on those crosswalks, you get downtown and the public works people are down there replacing and rebuilding those brick crosswalks all the time. And I know when they had that rock and
Well,
roll,
it was kind of controversial at the time, as I recall. They were put in probably in 91, and I don't know if they've ever worked out very well.
yeah. Well, and they did that rock and rail, that race downtown, the bike race.
Yeah.
And they had to do a little bit of work. And I know when Ragbri came through there, they had to do some work on some of those bricks. They're a hazard, and if they're not maintained, and it's very difficult to keep them maintained, especially when you get a lot of traffic on them. They do deteriorate. Even those bricks on Fifth South that we had the problem with them dipping right after we put them in, and then they came back and they put asphalt underneath them, I think, and redid them. You get out there by the Kohl's store, those bricks are starting to deteriorate again, and there's a couple little dips there. So, my suggestion next time is let's not fix them. Let's just tear them out. We'll put concrete in there and stamp them. If you want them to look like bricks, there's stamped concrete. They'll hold up much better, and you can color it. It'd be a lot better looking and easier to maintain. But again, talking about sidewalks, the downtown sidewalks during that country jam, as you walk around downtown, there's several of them that are in extremely poor shape. Curb and gutter over by the Warden is terrible. Needs to be replaced. But again, probably not going to be done until something's done at the Warden. The other concern that I've had, and I talked to David about this, was sidewalks around our schools. I think within a certain distance of our schools, we should have sidewalks on property. There's several houses. You get over by Cooper, just north of Cooper, there's no sidewalks, and the kids are walking in the street, or they're actually creating a pathway through the yards up there. And getting some way to assist people to put sidewalks in, either through a low or no interest program, or even assess them. I know that's a nasty word, but I think it's important that we get sidewalks in residential areas near and around schools. I just think it's dangerous for the kids, and it's a good idea to help with the safety of the kids. It's not public safety, it's kids' safety. So you don't have to nuke me. So I know I did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I forgot.
Yeah, the mayor's kind of hipped himself to the fact that we shouldn't ever have public safety. But I'm glad that you used it.
Yeah.
Allow me to break out the nukes.
Yeah. So anyway, I think you're going to see that. I know it was about 2012, 2013. There was a discussion about a sidewalk ordinance with the cracking, lifting, side-to-side motion of the sidewalks, deterioration of the sidewalks. To actually do inspections. They wouldn't be complaint driven, but if they did get a complaint, then they would walk the entire block. I think at the time, the council at that time did not really want to force people to replace sidewalks. They thought, being a caring, compassionate community, that they would do it by themselves. But obviously that didn't work that well. So there are a lot of sidewalks that are in extremely bad shape. You are required to maintain those. And obviously if you have one that's in bad shape, we would ask you to fix it up. Concrete is not that expensive. And it's, if you get together with your neighbor and do more, it's obviously less money. But, I think especially around the schools when there are no sidewalks, we need to have some put in. I can remember years ago up on,
you're going to remember years ago?
Yep, up on North 22nd, there was a new house built up there. And there was
it yours?
No, it was actually Mark Crimmon's dad who put it in, and he didn't want to put sidewalks in, and the city told him they had to, and
Leo said, "Bite me."
Mark said, "Bite me." So,
Mark said, "Bite me."
Yeah, Mark and
bite everybody. Huh?
So I
well,
mean,
good for him.
There's certain areas. I mean, I live on a dead end road, and I don't have sidewalks, and I would probably put them in if anybody ever wanted them to, but I don't have any sidewalks in front of my house. So, but again, I think around schools, especially elementary schools, we should have sidewalks.
Really?
Yep. Why not? Do you have sidewalks in front of your house?
As a matter of fact.
Yeah. Do you shovel them?
No, I don't.
Oh, that's right.
All right. Dr. Terry Menke has been our guest. Thank you again, Doctor.
Not a problem.
Steve King, Congressman Steve King, is coming up. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-714-2553. That's 800-714-2553. 800-714-2553. Or go to selectquote.com. Since 1985,
a woman named
shop,
Linda just
you
called.
save.
Get full details on the example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in
A SelectQuote.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. March corn down a quarter penny at 378 3/4. May unchanged at 387 1/4. July corn up a quarter penny at 395 1/4. September up 3/4 at 397 3/4. March soybeans closed up 5 3/4 at 915. May up 6 cents at 928 3/4. July up 6 at 941 3/4. August beans up 5 3/4 at 946 3/4. March wheat closed up 4 3/4 at 526. Soybean meal down 10 cents a ton at 312.90. February live cattle up 42 cents at 125.55. April up 42 at 126.50. January feeder cattle up 197 at 143.02. March up 215 at 143.65. February lean hogs down 70 cents at 60.77. April down 125 at 64.85. I'm Dwayne Murley.
An egg a day could protect you from type 2 diabetes. I'm Julie Harker, and this is Healthy Living on Brownfield. Dr. Mickey Rubin is the director of the Egg Nutrition Center.
And this study, the latest study on diabetes, it's actually a follow-up to a larger study. It took place in Finland, where they showed that people who consumed more eggs compared to those who consume fewer eggs, the people who consume more eggs have reduced risk for type 2 diabetes. They've actually followed these individuals, almost 3,000 people, for close to 20 years, and they took an assessment of their dietary intake, and when they compared their dietary intake of eggs and compared that to their diabetes incidence, they showed that the higher egg consumers had less diabetes risk. Is really trying to sort
Hello? Yes, I'm here. Sure, that'll be fine. Thank you.
metabolites that are linked to egg consumption have less risk for diabetes. So it's really the unique nutrient package that you see in eggs.
Choline is an essential nutrient our bodies don't make enough. Eggs are the third highest food source of choline. I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield.
Hi, Grandma. Can Nina come over for dinner?
Sure. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma!
If anyone ever does, I want you to say, no, I have too much respect for my family and I don't want to get in trouble.
I promise, Grandma.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how, and we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids need to know the dangers and how to avoid them. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids, because when you talk, they hear you.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
You're saying a lot of words really fast that mean nothing.
Michael Devine, the doctor of truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
All right, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I'm Michael Devine. Yeah, we're going to tell the truth, make it matter, and we're never going to be boring. Joining us on the air now is Congressman Steve King. Congressman King, are you there? Sir, Congressman King, are you there, sir?
I am here, Mike.
How are you, sir? I know you're a busy guy. You're trying to conduct some business as you go on the air with me, and that's terrific. How are you today, sir?
Well, I'm holding up pretty well, given all the circumstances, pretty well. It looks probably from the outside like it's a pretty tough walk down through this place, but, every time I go over the floor to vote or every time I interact, one or more come up to me and they say, hey, I'm on your side. I'm supporting you. I'm praying for you. That's going on. And, I started to think that some of it's like there's a death in the family. It's about how some of them are acting, but there's some good friends in this place and there's some good people in this place. They aren't all that. We know that. There's some good ones and I appreciate them. And I just finished one of those conversations before I walked in here to call you. And I said to him that, there's a peace that comes over me when I've got to walk down to the floor and look these accusers in the eye. I'm very confident that what I said and did is right. And what they said and did was wrong. It's not an impossible thing to look them in the eye and deliver the facts. I don't have any trepidation about that at all. But when there's any emotion involved in it, it is a great appreciation for real friends and family.
Congressman Steve King is our guest, and I want to thank you very much for taking this time. I know it's been a very difficult time period for you. I will say, Congressman King, I have been a supporter of yours, as you know, for many years. I have written letters to the Des Moines Register, or Pravda, as we like to call it in this part of the country. I have been staunch in your corner for many, many years. But I am reminded, I'm also a staunch defender of the Second Amendment and the right to carry arms. And I remember a few years ago telling some of my open carry friends who I saw carrying semi-automatic rifles in Walmart, don't make it difficult for us to defend you. It has been, and I have not left your side, but I would question the decision made by your staff or perhaps by you to talk to the New York Times at all. They were going to slant what you said, no matter what you said it. You could have said a Hail Mary and they'd have twisted it. So was that your decision or someone on your staff?
Hey, Mike, can I hang up and call you back? I'm getting so much feedback, I can't quite follow.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, please do, by all means.
I'll call right back. Thanks.
All right, thank you. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. We're going to do some weather here.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Mainly clear skies this afternoon with a high of 27. Winds out of the southwest 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overcast skies tonight 7 above. Partly cloudy tomorrow. Chance of flurries. High temperatures reach up to 7 above. High of 8 Friday with a chance for snow. 16 mainly cloudy Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 27.
All right, AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, back in the air with Congressman Steve King. Are you there, sir? Congressman King. Hello. Hello, Congressman King. Well, I guess he's not quite back. I guess he's not. Yeah, he'll try to call again, I'm sure. We'll be back.
Loffersweiler Funeral Home is pleased to announce the addition of our crematory. I'm Luke Loffersweiler. The addition of our on-site crematory is another example of how we consistently exceed expectations and deliver a standard of service that is 100% guaranteed. At Loffersweilers, we're honored to give your family our assistance and expertise, taking care of even the smallest details before, during, and after the funeral, so you can begin the healing process. We're Loffersweiler Funeral Home, Fort Dodge, a trusted friend of the family for over 160 years.
All right, AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Congressman King, are you with us?
I am. I tried a hard line. It's a little better. It's not perfect, but let's go with it. You had a question, but I didn't get it followed.
Well, yeah, my question was, who on your staff or did you decide to talk with the New York Times? Because the New York Times, as I mentioned, and maybe you heard me, you could have recited the Holy Rosary to the New York Times, and they would have made you sound bad. So whose decision was it to talk with the New York Times? Why did you take that on?
Well, Mike, you can't lay it off onto the staff. It was all me. And what happened was it was a Friday morning, and I wasn't yet at the office. I was down at my place here, and I got a call, and my audio was messed up again, kind of like it was here with you. And I said, I didn't actually know who it was. And I said, can you call me back in 10 minutes? Well, he did, and I was about half ready where I could get that connected. And before I could get it all figured out, I was in the interview. But there was also this significant bait that was dangled out in front of me, and that was that the Times editor had given a directive to this reporter to write a feature story explaining how it is that the immigration policy that I have pushed for, I'll say 20 years or more, how that found its way through presidential politics and into the Oval Office in the person of Donald Trump. Well, so that was the bait, and they wrote the story, and I don't think he knew what he had written down or how that would be dealt with either. But that's so I did a 56-minute interview, and he lifted out, and put those quotes in, and that quote isn't really a sentence. You don't start a sentence out with the words that he has there, and it doesn't convey any thoughts that go through my head. I had been we'd have been having a discussion about how the left has overused the word racist. They call everybody a racist. And it got to the point where some folks, myself included, would just begin to ridicule them. I know April Ryan asked me one day in 2016 in Cleveland at the Republican National Convention, and she's the one that, challenged Sarah Huckabee Sanders as whether she baked the pie or not. And she put her tape recorder up in front of my face. She had another reporter there in a crossfire, and she said, "Are you a racist?" And that was her first question. And and I just said, use that word again, again, and again. Use it a million times, because every time you use it, it devalues it. Well, they understood that. And what I was talking about was how they plugged in other terms now, and they started calling us Nazis, and then fascists, and then white nationalists and white supremacists. And I'm answering his question. I told a narrative right before that, and then I paused, and then I said, and Western civilization how did that language become offensive? Why did I sit in classrooms learning about the merits of our civilization, then going on just to see it become a derogatory term in the lips of the left? And so what I'm doing is describing how language gets used to manipulate, and how it, in the end, if you let them control the language, they will control the policy as well. And I could give you a number of examples on that, Mike.
That is absolutely correct. And by the way, I'm a nationalist. I'm a nationalist. A nationalist is somebody who believes it's a good thing to have independent states, nation states. And by the way, I'm very proud of my country, my civilization. You and I have talked about that many times over the years. I never put the term white nationalist there, and I stay away from ethnic labels because of the trap that you're describing. In other words, if we say white nationalism or the history of white people, there are those, and this is, by the way, Saul Alinsky training, who a lot of references are given to Saul Alinsky and the way he trained community organizers, and Barack Obama was tied to him. Saul Alinsky just saw matters of race or gender or sexual orientation. He saw those things as really insignificant. What was really significant to Saul Alinsky and to the people you're describing, Congressman King, is power. That's what they want. They to strip away our individual identities, to even take away the terms female and male, is a goal of people who are interested in power. So when we fight these battles, and they are battles worth engaging, and we should all push back on this very dangerous philosophy. We should be aware of their tactics and aware of their goals, and not be afraid to call them on it.
Well, and that's what I was actually doing, was putting the message out there that these are tactics that they're using. They're hurling these labels onto people, and then they do that to get people to cower and curl back and retreat from their positions because they get called names. And I've been one who has stood in the face of that over and over again, and not very many will. And a lot of them will essentially duck and cover. But I believe also that the reporter fed those two terms to me, white nationalism and white supremacy. That's not been in my language anywhere that we can find. And I don't have any recollection of it. I said on the floor that those ideas do not form in my head. Therefore, I don't know how they would come out of my mouth. But I am a strong advocate and a defender of Western civilization. And I said also in a speech on the floor that I am an American nationalist. And I think that's what you are, a proud, patriotic American nationalist.
Absolutely correct. And I want to get to something with you, and we're gonna define racist and what racism is here in just a minute. But and I have talked about this frankly on the air, sir. That supporters of yours like me wonder what you're doing in the Toronto mayor's race. We wonder what you're doing over in Austria, walking into an interview with a controversial group over there. I've said many times, and a lot of your supporters have said, we need you here in Iowa's 4th District. We need you here advocating for us. And we don't understand, frankly, what you're doing in the Toronto mayor's race. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, yes, I go first with the Toronto mayor's race, and that's a situation where the young lady up there was running for mayor. She was third in the polls, and there were actually 11 candidates for the race for mayor, and they decided that they were going to shut down her freedom of speech, and they denied her a place on the debate stage. She had spent tens of thousands of dollars by buying ads up front, and paid for them up front. She had contracts with 2 different media companies, and the day before the ads were to be run, they pulled the plug and said, well, we're not running them. She put $50,000 on the barrelhead to bring an attorney in to sue to enforce the contracts, and she got before the judge, and the judge said, oh, I'm not going to hear this case. And then they throttled down her social media so she couldn't get an effective tweet or Facebook out. Now, that's just an obscene suppression of freedom of speech. And she happens to be a candidate who is a solid, principled conservative, who believed in a balanced budget, the rule of law. I'll say make Canada great again, and syncs very well with the Trump agenda. And I put in my endorsement, best of all, she's a strong supporter of Western civilization. And so that didn't take a lot of time on my part. I mean, I had some friends that knew her well that I trusted, and I thought, okay, if I can give her a little traction here, at least she can get out of this with some self-respect. But I don't know anybody in this Congress that's defended freedom of speech any more aggressively than I have, and I think that it is the very foundation of our freedom. And if we don't have freedom of speech, we don't have freedom of thought or freedom of expression, and we can't even identify our problems, let alone debate the best solutions for them. And I think it's easy to see in this society today. So I've done battle on this in this Congress over and over again, and we do need allies around the world. We have this job that I have is a United States congressman, and that we have money that goes everywhere around the world. We've got military around the world, Secretary of States, and the reach of our U.S. embassies everywhere. We've got trade that goes everywhere. We have influence that goes everywhere. So if I just narrowed the job down and did only the things that affected the 4th District, people would say, well, what does he think? Does he think he's the congressman for the 4th District of Iowa that only deals with that real estate inside those boundaries? Doesn't he understand that trade matters and military matters and overall economics and alliances matter? So this is a very complex job, and if you're going to do it and do it well, you've got to have a lot of plates spinning on the cue sticks, and that's something that I've been able to do all my life, is work a lot of agendas simultaneously. But I've been to all 382 towns in the district, and we held I don't know how many different ag advisory meetings there. I brought in the Taiwanese on trade, and twice now, 2 years in a row, we've solidified and expanded our trade agreement with the Taiwanese. And I've had 6 of my staff over there to Taiwan to tie those relationships together, each in separate trips, so we got the maximum impact out of it. I've been twice and met with the last 2 presidents of Taiwan in a personal way. And then I guided them throughout Iowa from, I'll say, down near Ames to Nevada and on across all the way up to Hinton. And it showed them, and I rode the bus with them and showed them, we have horizon to horizon row crop production here. And they upped their soybean purchases by 37%, and we're at around $2.8 billion a year in what we're selling to the Taiwanese. I've got another trade deal going it's bigger and better, and it's with another country quite a long ways away from Taiwan. Not a country that people would expect. I can't speak about it until we get the deal done, but it's a unique approach of having our producers selling directly to the consumer, the processor consumer in a foreign country, and it would be bigger than the Taiwanese deal, and they want to do a 30-year deal. So I'm doing a lot of things here. I mean, I can't put a press release out on all of them, but when I do put press releases out, a lot of those papers won't print them. For example, they say Steve King doesn't pass any legislation, and one day here, a year ago last summer, I passed 4 of my bills that I authored and introduced, passed off the floor of the House in 24 hours and 6 minutes. It wasn't in one day. It was 24 hours and 6 minutes, to be honest. But I don't know anybody that's gotten that much legislation passed through in a 24-hour period. And it's just the constant criticism that comes keeps people from hearing the good stuff that's there. And we do a lot of good stuff. And that's our philosophy, is that we want to help people. And it makes it harder when you've got people that are dragging all the time that want the job. And if they just want to be a member of Congress instead of do some of the things I'm talking about, I'd be suspicious of their motives. And there's some people out there that are like that are engaged in this now.
You're kind of sounding like you see yourself as an international representative. Is that how you see yourself?
Well, I don't know I don't see that at all in that way. It's just that you've got to, let's see, Hayden Fry used to say, scratch where it itches. You got to fill the hole in the line of scrimmage where it needs to be filled. And sometimes I'm back pushing hard on transportation because that's the time it needs to happen. I had the privilege of cutting the ribbon on 4-lane Highway 20 last October 19th. That was actually the best day of all of 2018. And that's something I had worked on for a long time. And Mike, that would not have happened in last calendar year if I had not had the foresight to make the earmark that purchased the right of way and funded the engineering and the archaeological and the environmental. That project was shovel ready when the money was available, because a number of years before, I could see that we needed to do something to pull that project west of Fort Dodge and west of Highway 71.
Sure.
And so that's one of the things. I'm dealing on trade that affects directly the 4th District of Iowa. We're the number 1 agriculture producing district in all of America. And so and by the way, when I walked into the Oval Office a couple of months ago, I guess it would be in October, and a one-on-one meeting with the president, I wrote my agenda on my hand in ink like Sarah Palin, because you can't be looking at a piece of paper at a time like that. President Trump stretched the meeting out from a 30-minute meeting to a 75-minute meeting. And a third of the way into that, I was confident that he was going to move on E15. And that was a Tuesday. And he announced 2 days later on a Thursday, we're going to go with E15. One of the other topics I brought up was birthright citizenship, the anchor baby issue. And I let him know that he had the legal authority to put an end to that automatic citizenship, that granting citizenship to a baby born to both parents being illegal. And I've been the author of that legislation since 2011. And so that was a week later that he announced that he was going to, by executive decision, put an end to automatic citizenship. So, I'm working directly with the president in one-on-one and intense meetings in the Oval Office. There's multiple other topics we dealt with. I'm working with the trade people, with Peter Navarro just today, and we're promoting trade. I'm looking at the relationships we have, and our closest trading partner is Canada. We need some allies up there. We've got Trudeau, and he's shifted that country hard to the left. We need stronger conservative voices in Canada. That was part of my effort in making that endorsement up there in Toronto. So that's some of it. I mean, there's a lot of it, though, isn't there?
Yes, there is. I talked with Randy Feenstra recently, and I've met State Senator Feenstra before. I like him. He's a nice guy. And I asked him directly if he was going to run, trying to take the Republican nomination for Iowa's 4th District from you at the behest of what I call the Polk County Republicans. In other words, the moneyed Republican establishment that's pretty much centered in Polk County. He denied it strongly. Now, the very next day, Representative Mike Sexton was here. And I asked, and I brought that up to Representative Sexton, who scoffed at the very idea that Feenstra wasn't approached by, again, what I call the Polk County Republicans. What do you think?
Well, it's got to be a guess on my part, and I probably shouldn't, but I know that there are some livestock producers up in the Northwest that they want more cheap labor. And I think that's a significant factor in this, Mike.
I do too.
And, if you think that there have been 2 new pork packing plants built in the last year, one in Eagle Grove and one in Sioux City. And I suppose between them, there's 4,000 or 5,000 employees if they get their employee ranks all filled up. Then you've got all the expansion of pork production that comes because they've got those markets that they know now they can feed hogs to. So that pressure's there, and it's a growing political pressure that is in favor of bringing in more and more cheap labor. And so they see me as the obstructionist in that. And I tell them, I'm for the rule of law and all the things that we need to do with immigration. Let's restore the respect for the rule of law, and then we can work in a logical fashion from there. But they don't seem to be interested in that. They want what they want now.
Yes, they do. One of the more fantastic lies that's been told in the last 30 years by the Democratic Party is that they are tolerant as far as race is concerned. What they want to do is exploit these people. They want to ruthlessly exploit these people, period. It's not cheap labor. It's not cheap illegal immigrant labor or immigrant labor. It's slave labor. The Democrats and some of the people that you refer to, their Republican ag interest in the Northwest, what they want is slave labor, and their attitude toward physical labor is very much like slaveholders in the 19th century. And I will be happy to debate that with anybody Democrat or Republican anytime they would like to. I've said that many times. I've had no takers. And the reason I've had no takers is because I'm right. Because this is slave labor. This is illegality by some of the most prominent members of the ag community. And they don't care. They just don't care. Congressman Steve King is our guest. I'm sure that's part of it. And I'll be talking with Senator Feenstra again in the future, maybe only once or twice. I don't know, but I'll certainly talk with him again. There is some good news. J.D. Scholten is dancing around the idea that he may seek the Democratic nomination again, because J.D. Scholten, his 15 minutes are up. His resume is as thin. Well, I better not say that's family radio, but let's just say his resume is pretty thin. He came, and this is used and pointed at you quite often, that this man with no resume whatsoever, he played Class A baseball for $8,000 a year. First of all, nobody makes a living playing Class A baseball. There's no doubt that he played Class A baseball, but he had to have another job because it's the lowest league in the in professional sports. Second, he came. He seemed to have a job, several different jobs as kind of a paralegal. His resume is very vague and again very thin, but that's some good news for you there, Congressman.
Well, yes, and maybe, and we don't know who comes in to fill that gap. But yeah, he hit the jackpot on the timing and the way things worked out. And I will give him credit. I mean, he worked at it. He covered the district pretty well. It seemed a little odd to me that, as I said, I've been to all 382 towns, and he was getting credit for going to 39 counties. And I think, well, that's only 10% of what I've done. And we get into every one of those towns at least once a year. And of course, I get to the counties every year at least once. And we are scheduled now 39 town hall meetings, one in each county, and within this calendar year. And we do our first one for this year on Saturday morning in Primgar at 9 o'clock. And so we're going to go down that path too. But I will say that, JD did work at that, and he didn't take an issue with any vote or any position that I'd taken that I could tell. It seems curious if somebody wants to unseat a seated member of Congress, you would think that they would say, I would vote differently, but I'm not. I'm hearing the same thing out of Randy Feenstra that I did out of J.D. Scholten. Pretty much the same description. And, I would say to people that if you have a congressman that votes with you in the things you believe in, and you know where he stands, and you never have to wonder about his vote, then why would you want to make a change? You have what you want, don't you?
Well, I agree with you. The sub on the Republican and Democratic side have said Scholten got that close to you, not because of him, but because of you. Do you think that's the case?
Well, I don't think it. I think there's another explanation, and that is the nearly perfect storm that came together. And what we had was with 13 days out, we were up 18 points, and that's really stable. And then we had a story come out, printed October 25th in Washington Post, written by Mike Debonis, and that's the one that alleged that I had gone to Austria on the dime of a Jewish group and to meet with Nazi sympathizers and anti-Semites. Well, I don't know if I've told you this, Mike, but I went there on my own dime by the invitation of a businessman that had people that he wanted me to meet. They wanted to download on U.S. politics. I did that. And but when I sat down at the table, there were 6 people at that table and me. And it started out this way. The fellow on my right said, I think you should know, Congressman, that you're seated here with 2 homosexuals and a Jew. And immediately the fellow across the table said, well, who's the Jew? Which, and so we laughed because we figured he knew who the other homosexual was. We never did. But didn't know who the Jew was. So I tell you that narrative because you're not going to be plotting any Nazi plots with 2 homosexuals and a Jew at a table of 6.
No, that doesn't sound like a real conservative group to me, frankly.
And they wrote in this article, they republished it over and over again, that I met with the far right extremist Freedom Party, and that's what that meeting was. They even reported that it was at their headquarters. No, I never told anybody where it was, but it wasn't at their headquarters. there was one representative from that party there at the table, but they're a ruling party. They're seated and they're a governing party in Austria. And because they were formed shortly after World War II, if you were a surviving male in Austria shortly after World War II, you were likely a member of the Nazi Party. That's what kept you alive.
Congressman King, call us back in 10 minutes, please. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll be back with Congressman Steve King after the news. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. KVFD, Fort Dodge, Iowa, 4 o'clock, 27 degrees.
Uncharted territory in Washington. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The president and the House Speaker in a State of the Union standoff that's really about the standoff over the border wall.
measures.
You have a tremendous ability to save taxpayer money through improving energy efficiency in Iowa.
Saying a Democrat was elected state auditor in November and he was sworn into office 3 weeks ago. J.D. Scholten, the Democrat who gave Republican Congressman Steve King a surprisingly close race in November, was at the State House today to launch a new campaign.
I would like to introduce our new nonprofit, Working Hero Iowa.
The group's aim is to increase the number of low-income Iowans who claim the earned income tax credit on their state and federal tax returns. Scholten says he got the idea for his Working Heroes Iowa effort from a California man who runs a similar group and who endorsed Scholten's 2018 congressional campaign. This has been Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. A wind chill advisory begins at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning and continues until 9 a.m. Friday. Partly cloudy this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 28. Westerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 7 above. Tonight, overcast skies. Chance of flurries tomorrow, 7 above. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 28.
Good Samaritan Society Manson is looking for a registered nurse to be a part of their leadership team and serve as MDS and rehab coordinator. RNs applying for this 30-hour-a-week position must be in good standing with the state of Iowa. If you want to enjoy the benefits of working in a Bronze Award 5-star Christian care facility, apply online for the MDS position at good-sam.com. That's good-sam.com. Good Samaritan Society is an equal opportunity employer. Women, minorities, and veterans are encouraged to apply.
Have you ever wondered how the brain works? What makes us tick? Join me, Greg Woods, every Wednesday morning for all the latest news on the brain, on aging, and the science behind it all. It's The Mind Boggles, every Wednesday morning at 8:30 on AM 1400 KVFD.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
You're saying a lot of words really fast that mean nothing.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
All right, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. On the air with me again, Congressman Steve King. Thank you for being on with us, sir. Congressman King?
Okay, there we go. Thanks, Mike.
Oh, okay. Congressman King, are you there? Are you with us?
I am with you.
Okay, let's talk about some of your friends. Representative Liz Cheney of Wyoming said that you should find another line of work. Should she just go hunting with her dad, or what?
Maybe hunting or ice fishing. She could form the ice as she goes. Mike, when you think about this, and I've analyzed this a little bit, it's pretty close to the language that Governor Reynolds used shortly after the election.
I was going to, let me just fill in there. Let me interrupt you just for a moment. Kim Reynolds would not be governor of the state of Iowa without Iowa's 4th congressional district. You were her co-chair. She waited until she was safe in the governor's mansion, and now she's talking a whole different line. That does not speak well of the governor. Have you talked to her?
Well, no, I haven't, and I'm waiting for her to call me. It shouldn't be lost either that I nominated her for lieutenant governor at the state convention. And, that was a very close race between her and Bob Vander Plaats. And most everybody watching that would have said that Bob Vander Plaats would have been the lieutenant governor nominee that year had it not been for that. I try to take care of people, and I want to help them and do the right thing. And I thought it was, even though Bob's done a lot of good, and he'll do a lot more good. I thought that the competition he had as a primary candidate against Terry Branstad would have been of the bad chemistry if they were going to be on the same ticket together. So I'm just trying to do the right thing. And you would think that it's easy enough not to say anything, and yet it seems to be more of a temptation to talk than either Liz or the governor could handle.
Well, all of a sudden, when something like this happens, there's a lot of piling on all of a sudden. And that seems to be what happens. You are stripped of your committee assignments. And part of the frustration we feel here back home, Congressman, is we now have Cindy Axney, who's a 3rd District Congressperson. Actually, she's the representative from Polk County. She's on the Ag Committee now, and you're not. That's not good for Iowa's congressional fourth.
Well, I don't know how many people would think that that's an upgrade. I've got a lot of experience on that committee, and I've been deeply engaged in ag policy all my life.
Nobody's saying it's an upgrade. It's just a fact.
I I'm not the only one, by the way, that has been purged from that committee. And I talked to former chairman Frank Lucas. He's got probably as many. Oh yeah, I know he has as many years on that committee as anybody on that Republican side. They removed him from the Ag Committee. There are a couple others that were removed from the Ag Committee as well. So that's whatever's going on there. It's like some of the young Turks have stepped in and they purged the Ag Committee of their senior people. And then there's payback going on here too. Jody Heiss from Georgia, a really good, solid, faithful Christian man, actually, and a pastor, was removed from the Armed Services Committee because he didn't vote for Kevin McCarthy, whom I now call Kevin Joe McCarthy, for Speaker. And so this is a brutal, no holds barred, take no prisoners operation going on out here. I've never seen it like this before. And I've had members that come to me, like say one at a time, usually not two at a time, and they will say, "Boy, you got a raw deal, and I'm on your side, and I know what kind of man you are and what kind of a friend you are, and let's look for a way to put this all back together." And when those conversations take place, I type the name or names down into a little list I have, and we'll work this thing and see what happens. But it's going to take some weeks for it to ferment to the place where we maybe have a chance to address it, Mike.
And right now, you're a man without a committee. Do you expect that to last long?
Well, I don't know. And, 2-3 weeks from now, I'll have a little better idea. They'd like to have it last. Kevin McCarthy would like to have it last for the duration of this Congress. I mean, that's the words out of his mouth. And, there was no opportunity for me to make my case. He took it to a secret steering committee meeting and stampeded them. And I'm confident it wasn't a full committee. It was the ones that could show up on short notice. And so that's how that happened. And so I will, I'm going to continue to make this case. But first thing, it's so important that people in the 4th District of Iowa know what happened and know what I said. And the interview was about, we talked a little bit earlier about the language that they use, this pejorative, derogatory, slanderous language, racist, Nazi, fascist, and the other stuff. And when I paused after that list saying, this is what they're calling people now. And then I said, Western civilization. How did that language become offensive? And so there's nothing in what I said. In fact, there's really nothing in the quote itself that justifies what they did. I believe that they had this loaded up well before that story was ever written. And in fact, I got some information that gave me a heads up on that. I'm not the only high-level politician in Iowa that knows about that. I'll just say one of the other well-positioned Republicans took off to the side and gave that information so that they'd be aware of what was going on. But this is very high level. And I think, Mike, in the end, it goes back to the establishment wing of the party has been unable to nominate their establishment candidate because we've had strong grassroots support in the Ames straw poll and in the Iowa caucus. And if you look from that list going all the way back to Pat Buchanan, I was Buchanan for president back in 96, I believe it was.
92, certainly.
He assigned me 28 counties, and Buchanan carried 24 of them. And he had a real shot at the nomination that year and went to Bob Dole. Then George W. Bush came in. We had our situations there. By then, I'm in the state Senate and then on Congress. But I fought George Bush for his open borders policy, and Karl Rove and I locked horns. We killed off his amnesty plan in about 2006 or 7. By the 2008 nomination, that was one that Mitt Romney came close, but didn't get it done. In 2012, it was the same thing. And so my role in that, and I wasn't intentionally to deny Romney the nomination, but he's one of the first ones to come out against me. And one of the others was Jeb Bush. And they happen to be managed, their involvement in those campaigns by there's a nexus of one individual that ties Mitt Romney and Jeb Bush and Governor Reynolds' campaigns all together. And that explains some of this, but it doesn't explain it all. The neocons out there are on the warpath. And of course, they want to expand our military industrial complex and engage in foreign wars. And there's some of the earliest ones to come out against me too. So I watch those names, and I've got a little list, and it's the pattern is forming to where
I can make the case as to what their motives are, and that's but they don't want to come out in the open and say that because people won't support their agenda, so eventually the whole truth is going to emerge. I know a lot of it. I don't know it all yet.
Well, I understand the establishment Republicans. They're the and I think they're done. I think I think Trump killed them. They don't want to let go of it. But when Trump walked all over Jeb Bush and the Bush family, let's face it, they are the epitome, right at the top of establishment Republicans. Trump beat him like a drum. And I don't think they're coming back. They may want to. They may demand to. I'm a little surprised again at Kim Reynolds. I didn't see her as part of, as the embodiment of the Republican establishment in Iowa as Terry Branstad was. But apparently I was wrong.
But Mike, we just keep in mind that Kim and I have been good friends for a long time, and I like her. But she studied with Terry Branstad for 6 years, and
yes, she did.
And that's and those things, your experiences in life do change you. And it was Terry Branstad that came out against the Ames straw poll and ended up killing that off. And it was also Terry Branstad that came out 2 or 2.5 weeks before the Iowa caucus, and he said he wasn't going to endorse the candidate, but he said anybody but Cruz. And if Cruz had not won Iowa, I believe that statement that Governor Branstad made would have killed off Iowa's first in the nation system, because otherwise, what candidate would enter into a race in Iowa if the governor could just get up and say, well, don't vote for this one?
Well, that's right. But Senator Cruz, by the way, seems to have turned against you as well.
Yeah, that tells you a little more about politics, doesn't it? And by the way, all these people have my cell number, and none of them called me.
I believe that. AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. Our guest is Congressman Steve King. Let's define racism. What do you think? What do you think the definition of racist is?
Boy, I should have looked that up. You gave me a warning, Mike, and I didn't. But it's probably going to be an incomplete definition. But as it's used today, well, no, I don't want to quite say that because it's not going to be a real definition as it's used today.
No, I want yours. I want your definition.
Well, I'll just say a racist is someone who believes that there are races of people that are inferior to others, and then they believe that policy should reflect that bias that's within them. And what I believe is that we're all created in God's image, and we need to have an equal opportunity, and we need to fight to make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity. But I also believe no one should have a preference because of their race, ethnicity, national origin, or any immutable characteristic. And I have lived that. That has been my life. And I may be the only one that went to court to defend those principles and spend and pay the attorney fees out of my kids' inheritance.
I know what my definition of Western civilization is. And I do not, and I, like you, believe that Western civilization is a culture and a set of values that is superior to any other in the history of our world, frankly.
Yep. And
I don't believe that has anything to do with genetics. But I think the idea that all cultures are equal is a lie. It's a lie that has taken hold of the imagination of some in our country and around the world. But why do you think, or what do you think of Western civilization? Do you think that Western civilization is superior because of Western civilization, or is it some flaw in these other civilizations, or how do you come about your thinking on Western civilization?
Well, it goes back for me a long ways back into my educational experience, but we were taught Western civilization clear back in high school, and I studied it in 1 or 2 courses in college, and I picked up the books to read and pay attention to history. But the foundational principles that are underneath there are just fascinating to me. And every culture has its flaws and its weaknesses, and Western civilization is not perfect, but I believe it is the superior civilization, and that's why everybody's trying to get into our civilization. That's why they come here. They're not heading out; they're heading in, and so that's a pretty big magnet. But I would take it. Some of the elements are this. I'd trace the rule of law is essential to our Western civilization, and you can trace that all the way back to Mosaic law. So you can take it back to Egypt and to Israel. But then
then that rule of law flowed through to Mosaic law through Greek and Rome, and the Greco-Roman rule of law was transferred up through Europe prior to the fall of the Roman Empire and the beginning of the Dark Ages. Also, the Greeks gave us the Age of Reason. That's the foundation for our science. The Romans gave us the Republican form of government and a bigger share of the rule of law than the Greeks did. And that found its way into Europe, spread across Western Europe, all the way up into Ireland. And then the Visigoths sacked Rome in 410 AD. We crashed down into the Dark Ages. We don't know a lot about what happened in the history during those centuries. But we came out the other side of it, and the documents that had been preserved from the pagan tribalism that ruled throughout those Dark Ages centuries, those documents were the classics. They were biblical, and they had to teach society and teach culture how to reason, how to think again, rather than to react emotionally. And so you go through the Renaissance and the Age of Enlightenment, and I'm going to take you to 1776. That's like the presto year that launched Western civilization in a robust, successful place. Two big things happened that year. I should stop at the Magna Carta in 1215 first, and then fast forward to 1776. But we had the two big things that happened that year were the Declaration of Independence, the most beautiful document this side of the Bible that's ever been devised by mortal man, and that laid down the principles of God-given liberty, that our rights come from God, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. And the same year, Adam Smith published Wealth of Nations. That laid down the foundation for free enterprise capitalism. You put those things together with Judeo-Christian values, and in this country, originally it was mostly Christian values, and realized that they settled on this continent that was also the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. It was like this giant petri dish that was just teeming with the opportunity for huge success, and it blossomed. And they had this idea of manifest destiny to settle this continent from sea to shining sea, and they did so in the blink of an historical eye. And they laid the best foundation down for law, for justice, for faith, and they had essentially, as far as they saw it, unlimited natural resources. And this robust America sprung forth, and it just sprung forth from the foundation that I've described. That's the Western civilization that we enjoy today, and that's why America is the flagship for Western civilization for the world.
I would agree with that entirely. A surprising percentage of our fellow citizens do not accept that. I don't know why that is exactly. I have my ideas, but time prevents us from going into my opinion here, and that's probably just as well. Congressman Steve King is our guest. So you are going to visit many towns in Iowa's congressional fourth. I understand the first town you'll visit up in Northwest Iowa is Primgar this Saturday morning at 9. Is that correct?
That is correct. Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been to Primgar, know exactly where it is, of course. Do you expect protesters or trouble up there or anything like that?
Well, I don't want to incite any of that, but I don't expect it's going to be the smoothest town hall meeting I've ever participated in, Mike. And so, we just have to step in there and go for it. And over time, the resistance will die down. I don't think they can sustain it throughout all of them. And, we'll do a lot of other meetings too. These aren't the only meetings we'll do. We'll do all kinds of meetings anyway throughout the last few years. We just, ever since Steve Scalise was shot, and they were clamoring for town hall meetings for the sole purpose of having a demonstration platform. And that's why I shut down temporarily the town hall meeting. Now they're clamoring for town hall meetings. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, we nearly had to shut down our legislative town meetings, so to speak, or area meetings with Senator Kreinbrink and Representative Sexton. They were being disrupted by a bunch of people who thought they were going to get something done if they yelled during the meeting. It was ridiculous. I mean, we nearly lost the opportunity to talk face to face with our legislatures, which is difficult. Well, anyway, Congressman King has been our guest. What have you learned from these last couple of weeks?
Boy. A lot. And one of them is that, the list of friends is not as long as one would have guessed. But, I could walk down there to the floor and
and stare my accusers in the eye, and with a great deal of confidence and comfort, tell them exactly what the facts are and what the truth is. They didn't really absorb it, and without any reservation or trepidation. But people would think that would be emotional. There's some emotion involved in this. Nobody could go through this and not.
Oh yeah.
But it's in appreciation for the real friends and for the family, Mike. And so there's actually a blessing in this for me. That going through this, it's refocused me on the things that matter and the things that are important. And I want people to know that right now, at least temporarily, I don't have the committee assignment. I still chair the Conservative Opportunities Society, and we bring together a couple of dozen conservatives every Wednesday morning with a keynote speaker. And that starts the discussion, the agenda here on this Hill. I've done that for about 14 years, and that's working fine. And I have now, not being tied up in committee meetings, I can go down on the floor and speak on every bill, on every amendment. I can go to the Rules Committee and do the same. I can go to the press. I can go out to the executive branch, which I already plan to do, since Nancy Pelosi is going to kill off everything that I want to do, or any Republican wants to do. And so being in the minority without a committee assignment just frees me up to work with the president and the executive branch and the West Wing of the White House. And we'll get some things done that way, maybe even more than we would have if I'm sitting on committee playing defense.
All right. Congressman Steve King has been our guest. I really want to thank you for taking this time to be with us, sir.
Mike, I thank you. I always enjoy it, and I want to see you in the studio. I think I've got a surprise for you.
All right, buddy. I'm looking forward to it. Congressman Steve King, thank you again.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
You're saying a lot of words really fast that mean nothing.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Yeah, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. 27 degrees, exactly 4:30. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with the health department right here at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Every morning when I wake, I'm feeling to be.
Midstate Plumbing and Heating shows their support year-round to the families in our community whose loved ones risk their lives for our freedom. Whether it's here in the United States or in another country, they've put their lives on the line to protect our way of life. Their commitment and sacrifice will never be forgotten. This message has been brought to you by Midstate Plumbing and Heating for residential or commercial plumbing in and around Fort Dodge. For repairs, new installations, and more, call Midstate Plumbing and Heating.
Hi, I'm Amber. I'm a mom of two, and I live with HIV. When I first received my diagnosis, I was really worried about how I was going to provide for my kids because I knew taking control of my diagnosis was going to be expensive. So I started looking for any resources that could help us out, and I found out I was eligible for Ryan White services through the Iowa Department of Public Health. I qualified for medication and medical care, financial help, transportation, housing, and even counseling. I'm amazed by how much support is available, and I wish I had talked to someone sooner, especially now that I know I'm not alone. Over 3,000 Iowans are living with HIV. How we take care of ourselves and how we manage our care are two of the most important ways we can live our best lives. I'm living with HIV, not dying from it. Why wait? Reach out for testing and care services at StopHIVIowa.org.
Connect to this radio station from all across the country. Tickets to the gym, shopping. How about a road trip? Listen to us now on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll never miss a moment with your favorite radio station. Download the free iHeartRadio app and search for this station so we can go wherever you want us to.
If you're struggling with weight and frustrated with dieting each and every year, Mark Patrick Hypnosis can help. Join over 500,000 people who have attended Mark Patrick Hypnosis programs with weight loss results. Mark Patrick Hypnosis will be in Fort Dodge on Wednesday, February 6th.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to. I lost a total of 83 pounds.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
For only $49.99, lose all the weight you want, 100% guaranteed. Wednesday, February 6th at the Quality Inn and Suites on Highway 169 South, Fort Dodge. The seminar will be held from 5:30 till 7:30 p.m. Registration starts at 5. Attend this program and find out how the power of hypnosis can help you achieve your weight loss goals. There's limited seating, so get there early. Learn more at markpatrickseminars.com.
Hi, I'm Amber. I'm a mom of 2, and I live with HIV. When I first received my diagnosis, I was really worried about how I was going to provide for my kids because I knew taking control of my diagnosis was going to be expensive. So I started looking for any resources that could help us out, and I found out I was eligible for Ryan White services through the Iowa Department of Public Health. I qualified for medication and medical care, financial help, transportation, housing, and even counseling. I'm amazed by how much support is available, and I wish I had talked to someone sooner. Especially now that I know I'm not alone. Over 3,000 Iowans are living with HIV. How we take care of ourselves and how we manage our care are 2 of the most important ways we can live our best lives. I'm living with HIV, not dying from it. Why wait? Reach out for testing and care services at StopHIVIowa.org.
The third largest indoor ag show in the U.S. is happening in Des Moines at the Iowa Events Center January 29th through the 31st. Be first in the Midwest to check out Yamaha's RMaxon Mancopter sprayer. Watch 5 ag startups compete live for a $20,000 prize. Check out 78 brand new exhibitors. See that and more at the Iowa Power Farming Show. Now that's a great farm show. Doors open at 9 each day with free parking and shuttle at Principal Park. Sponsored in part by Farm Credit Services of America and Ag Direct.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
It's time to stop smoking once and for all by attending the next Mark Patrick Hypnosis Seminar in Fort Dodge. In just 2 hours, you can finally become a lifelong non-smoker, regardless of your past experience or how long you've been smoking. This program is designed so you can stop smoking without anxiety, without irritability, and without gaining any weight. For only $49.99, you can become a non-smoker through hypnosis. Wednesday, February 6th from 8 till 10 p.m. at the Quality Inn and Suites on Highway 169 South, Fort Dodge. Registration starts at 7:30. Seating is limited, so get there early to reserve your spot. All forms of payment are accepted. Almost everyone knows someone who has stopped smoking using hypnosis. Now that someone can be you. Attend the Mark Patrick Seminar Wednesday, February 6th at the Quality Inn and Suites, Highway 169 South, Fort Dodge, and use the power of hypnosis to stop smoking now. For more information, go to markpatrickseminars.com.
Menards is our go-to store when we update our house. We're adding new lights and seeing all the latest styles. The selection was amazing. And we found matching Patriot lighting fixtures for our whole house. We are so happy with the final touches that Patriot lighting adds to our home. Enjoy exquisite elegance and superior craftsmanship with Patriot lighting.
Save 11% on everything now at Menards. Good through January 26th. Savings or mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Congressman King?
Big money at Menards.
What if I told you there was a way to step into another gear for your brain and be much sharper, more focused, and improve your memory to a level that you could only dream about and notice these results in 30 minutes? Hard to believe? Neuroscientists are calling this new brain discovery the biggest advancement in brain science to date. It's called Limitless, the brain pill of the future. Take it, and within 30 minutes, you'll transport your mind to a new level of focus and clarity you would have never thought possible.
I took Limitless, and it started working in minutes. All of a sudden, it felt like a dark cloud had been lifted up right before my eyes. I have a mental clarity I've never felt before.
Biz execs, athletes, teachers, and students are calling Limitless a secret weapon for the brain. You have nothing to lose, so call now and find out how to get a free bottle today.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Limitless, call 800-681-9041. That's 800-681-9041. Free bottle for a limited time. Call now, 800-681-9041, 800-681-9041.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. A wind chill advisory begins at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning and continues until 9 a.m. Friday. Partly cloudy this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 28. Westerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 7 above. Tonight, overcast skies. Chance of flurries tomorrow, 7 above. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 28.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. March corn down a quarter penny at $3.78 3/4. May unchanged at $3.87 1/4. July corn up a quarter penny at $3.95 1/4. September up 3/4 at $3.97 3/4. March soybeans closed up 5 3/4 at $9.15. May up 6 cents at $9.28 3/4. July up 6 at $9.41 3/4. August beans up 5 3/4 at $9.46 3/4. March wheat closed up 4 3/4 at $5.26. Soybean meal down 10 cents a ton at $3.12.90. February live cattle up 42 cents at $125.55. April up 42 at $126.50. January feeder cattle up $197 at $143.02. March up $2.15 at $143.65. February lean hogs down 70 cents at $60.77. April down $125 at $64.85. I'm Dwayne Murley.
From the Fox Business Network, American workers are making more money. The average U.S. wage grew 3.4% last year to more than $28 an hour. The report from ADP also says 1 in 5 workers changed jobs in 2018. And if you're looking to make more money, the job site Glassdoor just unveiled its best jobs for 2019. Data scientists topped the list. The median base salary is $108,000. Other factors that put it first include job satisfaction and the number of openings. The Dow, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ all closing higher after seesawing throughout the day. Strong earnings offsetting worries about trade and how the partial government shutdown might hurt economic growth. And finally, if you think you're getting more and more of those annoying robocalls, you're right. A new report from the telecom services company UMail finds Americans got nearly 48 billion of them in 2018. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Connell McShane.
If you love them enough to listen to them practice the same song on tuba,
please be done.
Over and over and over and over and over, then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Sounds good, honey.
Check today at NHTSA.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Take the worry out of winter with a winter weather advisor on KVFD, brought to you by Community Health Center Fort Dodge, offering dental, behavioral health, and general medical assistance for men, women, and children. They're committed to your well-being. Community Health Center. Get to know them. And Creative Cakes, making life sweet with espresso, lunch, gourmet cupcakes, and other sweet treats. Creative Cakes in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge. They make life sweet. Listen for the winter weather advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
Meaningful memorialization starts when loved ones talk about what matters most.
Grandpa, this card asks, what was your favorite vacation?
Well, we didn't go on vacation when I was a kid, but our family did go fishing when we could. My dad could always find the best fishing holes, and he taught me how to clean the fish, too.
You mean you ate the fish you caught?
You bet.
Sharing stories and memories with those who matter most isn't just important today, it will be especially significant when it's time to honor a life lived. Contact Gunderson Funeral Home to learn more about having the talk of a lifetime.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
Can I ask you something, but without you taking it the wrong way?
Sure.
Are you stupid?
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right, I'm the Doctor of Truth. AM 1400 KVFD, the Voice of Fort Dodge. We are going to tell the truth, make it matter. We're never going to be boring. Thanks again to Congressman Steve King for being on with us and giving very honest answers to some of my questions. Really appreciate it. Joining us now is Gail Moore. She's with the Health Department. How are you, Gail?
I'm fine.
All right. So I thought Mark Hamill was coming in, but he sent you instead, which is better.
Okay.
That's good. I appreciate Supervisor Campbell doing that. You're a dental hygienist.
Yes.
And describe your job, please.
I have the iSmile Senior Program at Webster County.
iSmile Senior Program.
Right.
Okay.
It's iSmile Silver, and it was originally started for adults over 65.
iSmile Silver for adults over 65.
And that's changed this
I know
year.
this will surprise you, but I'm over 65.
Yeah, well, I'm getting closer.
Are you getting close?
The program's changed now to include all adults of all ages.
Okay. And what does somebody have to do, or what condition does someone, what condition is someone in to qualify to be part of this program?
We actually don't provide dental services. I can do a dental screening, a fluoride varnish. I can provide education. I can help you find a payment source. I can help you find a dental office for treatment.
Okay. You can help them find a payment source.
Yes, some of them someone may have Medicaid, and we can help them with what offices are accepting that. We can direct you to your purchasing your own dental policy with certain companies. We can talk you through some of the mass amount of mail that adults get asking them to sign up for dental programs that aren't really taken by the dental offices in our area. So we can avoid some costly mistakes there.
What should people do without dental insurance? Do you have any recommendations?
Well, it's really not that expensive to sign up for your own program.
It isn't.
You just want to make sure that you're signing up with a company that is accepted by the local dental offices. So for around $50 a month, you could carry your own dental insurance policy.
Well, that's money to some people, you know.
It is. And for some, it's unaffordable. Unfortunately, in our area here, we have a federally qualified health center at the community health center. Does have a very nice dental clinic.
Okay. At the community health center right across the street from where we're at right now.
Correct.
Okay. Right here on at the corner of beautiful downtown 2nd Avenue North and 10th Street.
Right. And in Fort Dodge, you also
the old
have
Joslin Supply Building, I think. Part of it anyway.
You also have a community college here that has a dental hygiene program. And that's a wonderful place for people to be able to go and have a dental cleaning and assessment done, get their x-rays taken, and they can transfer those x-rays electronically to the dentist of your choice.
Okay. So explain what a dental hygienist does.
Well, a dental hygienist has had 3+ years of college. We primarily do what everyone thinks of as the cleanings. We do x-rays. We do a procedure called scaling and root planing. So our job primarily in the office is the preventative part. You come in, you see us every 6 months. Some people will see us every 3 to 4 months. We help you to maintain dental disease. And then a big part of our job is education, patient education on oral hygiene, decay prevention, disease prevention.
And what qualifies a person to get that sort of service?
Well, everybody should have that kind of service done, whatever the recommendation is.
Yeah, that's right. But I assume you're not charging them over at Public Health.
And at Public Health, I don't do prophies or scaling and replaning or x-rays.
You don't do that. What do you do again? I'm sorry.
I primarily am a public health dental hygienist, so I primarily do referrals and
you tell them where to go. You don't actually do the work.
Well,
you've evolved beyond that.
Well, not really. I do a dental screening and can apply a fluoride varnish, which can help prevent tooth decay.
All right. Okay. Well, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
So what shape of the county's teeth in there, Gail? And our guest is Gail Moore from the Public Health Department here.
Well, we're not in too bad a shape.
We're not in too bad a shape?
Not too
What
bad
are Mark Campbell's teeth like? Have you looked at his teeth lately?
I have not checked.
I think Mark needs to be checked out. Should we go down to Amigos after this and check his teeth out?
We could do that. We did provide a free day of service working with the Iowa Central Community College on December 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw 16 adults ranged in age from 23 to 92. We were concentrating on veterans. Our youngest veterans were 44. Our oldest veteran was 92.
Wow.
We had 28 of the students at Iowa Central Community College dental hygiene program participate, 3 of their instructors, 5 local dentists, and in 3 hours time, they did $6,554 worth of free dental services.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yep.
Does public health never supplies a dentist? There's no dentist on staff anywhere for public health.
Not at this time.
Okay. Are you? Oh, that's very coy, Gail. Are you trying to get one, or?
I don't know that we're there yet, but anything is possible in this county, I have decided.
Yeah, that's right. Is there conversations? Do you know if there are conversations with the supervisors, or they're kind of a bunch of tightwads over there?
That's kind of above me.
That's beyond your.
That's a Carrie question or a Mark question.
Well, you should have brought Carrie with her. I've known Carrie for years. She didn't want to come though.
She just sent me.
Okay, and that's great too. Do public health people have a dentist of choice or not, where they can refer people? Is there a dentist or dentists in our town that are more likely to help with people perhaps who can't afford dental care?
Actually, the dentists in the area are really very good for the children's programs. The adult programs, it's a little bit harder sell. But we do have, most all of them have been willing to give of their time for the free day of service. Several of them have been very good to provide me with information. And a few of them will take some of our Medicaid patients. Medicare doesn't cover dental health right at the moment, but that's possibly about to change. There is a bill now in front of Congress to request a Medicare dental benefit. So that's a huge improvement.
That would be huge. That would be something new. I hope that gets through. The baby boomers are, as you know, being one yourself, are a very large group, and even the younger ones are old now. Even the younger baby boomers are old now. So I hope that can be done.
Well, they talk about us having a silver tsunami about to enter the Medicare system.
I'm surprised. We're in it, aren't we?
Just about. And we do pretty good with keeping our dental health until we retire. And then you start to see it slowly decline. And with that comes increased health problems, because it's just a big circle between oral health and overall health. If one isn't doing well, then the other suffers. And it's really important for our seniors to help them to age healthy.
Well, as someone who's aging herself, what would you recommend?
I would recommend people keep their dental insurance even after they retire, to maintain that dental appointment and to look for
Can that
other
be done?
options.
I mean, can you keep your dental insurance after you retire?
If you're not able to keep it through your employer, state employees usually can maintain theirs. They do pay for it.
State employees can do a lot of things.
Yes.
Private sector people can't do.
Right. But you can sign up for your own dental insurance. But what we really encourage you to do is, before you sign up and pay for anything, that you contact your dental provider and ask if it's a program that they accept. You can also talk to the people out at SHIP. They can help you to find that Part B Medicare that might have a dental piece with it. I think Blue Cross has Blue Dental, and it's been very accepted. But don't sign up for anything until you talk to your dental provider.
Gail Moore has been our guest. She is a dental hygienist with the health department. Are we missing anything, Gail?
No, if you'd like to have a dental screening, contact the health department. We do a foot clinic every second Friday of the month, and I'd be more than glad to do a screening for you at that time.
All right. And how do we get a hold of you? Is there a phone number?
There is. You can call Webster County Health Department at 573-4107. And we'd be more than glad to get you scheduled.
All right. Gail Moore with the Public Health Department. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Exploring soybean options for 2019. Hello, I'm Megan Grebner with Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Roundup Ready Plus Crop Management Solutions. As farmers finalize their planting decisions for next year, lower commodity prices put added importance on making sound agronomic decisions. In this Managing for Profit, Eric Riley and Neha Rana talk about some of the expanded chemistry options available for next year. We'll find out more on Brownfield right after this.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager, Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Farmers are working hard to maximize their return on investment. Neha Rana with Bear Crop Science says their entire soybean portfolio provides innovative solutions to help growers maximize yields from start to finish.
It offers herbicides, insecticides, and fungicides. In our herbicides portfolio, we now have Autumn Super, in addition to XtendiMax with Vapor Grip technology, Roundup brand agricultural herbicides, Warrant Ultra, and in our insecticides, we have such as Bethroid XL, Leverage 360, and fungicides such as Dilero and Stratego Yield.
Eric Riley tells Brownfield farmers need to look at making sound agronomic decisions when selecting their weed management products for next year.
Warrant, the Straight Goods microencapsulated acetochlor-based herbicide. As a Straight Goods acetochlor product, Warrant only provides residual control of small-seeded broadleaf weeds, such as pigweed species, which we know are really difficult weeds and problematic weeds in soybean production systems around the country, as well as a wide variety of grass species. Another way to think about it would be that Warrant prevents weeds from emerging through that soil surface, but it doesn't provide any foliar activity of emerged weeds. Residual herbicides, whether they're applied at planting or in crop, play an important role in reducing the risk of herbicide resistance by really decreasing the number of weeds that would be exposed to that post-emergence application at some point during the growing season. So in addition to weed control, we should also be thinking about application flexibility that Warrant offers, which includes pre-plant, those at planting or pre-emergence applications at the time of planting, and those in-crop applications with typically a really nice time of around V2 to V3 being that optimal timing within a soybean program to control those weeds.
Rana details another product farmers can consider.
XtendiMax herbicide with Vapor Grip technology helps manage glyphosate-resistant broadleaf weeds. XtendiMax herbicide allows in-crop applications of dicamba over the top of our Roundup Ready to Extend soybeans. It can not only be used in post-emergence application, but also as a pre-emergence, pre-plant burn-down application, where a grower can plant right after making those herbicide applications. XtendiMax herbicide, tank mixed with our premium surfactant system, Roundup brand agricultural herbicides, is a great product to use for our broadleaf as well as narrowleaf control.
I'm Megan Grebner with Managing for Profit on Brownfield, a content partnership with Roundup Ready Plus Crop Management Solutions.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. A wind chill advisory begins at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning and continues until 9 a.m. Friday, 7 above tonight. Under cloudy skies, west winds 8 to 15 miles an hour. Chance of flurries tomorrow, 7 above. Mainly clear tomorrow night, 10 below. A dusting of snow Friday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm staff meteorologist Derek Height. Currently, it's 28 degrees.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. March corn down a quarter penny at 378 3/4. May unchanged at 387 1/4. July corn up a quarter penny at 395 1/4. September up 3/4 at 397 3/4. March soybeans closed up 5 3/4 at 915. May up 6 cents at 928 3/4. July up 6 at 941 3/4. August beans up 5 3/4 at 946 6 3/4. March wheat closed up 4 3/4 at $5.26. Soybean meal down 10 cents a ton at $3.12.90. February live cattle up 42 cents at $125.55. April up 42 at $126.50. January feeder cattle up 197 at $143.02. March up 215 at $143.65. February lean hogs down 70 cents at $60.77. April down $125 at $64.85. I'm Dwayne Murley.
Hey everyone, Carrie here. For years, you've heard my husband, Ken,
Hello, Radioland.
explain how Income Store is the place for your next revenue stream. Not to date ourselves, but Ken and I have been helping individuals and businesses grow their revenue since before the internet was even a thing. We've heard countless stories as to why people look to increase their revenue.
Some stories make us laugh, some make us cry.
These stories, combined with our own, have motivated Ken and I to dedicate our lives to help people, as Ken says, who need a revenue shot in the backside.
Whether you want to just learn how or simply put, you need to generate revenue today. Our mission is to serve both.
Our worldwide staff of over 150 help to create amazing resources, our most famous being the iTunes podcast.
Today's growth. You got to check out episode 383. It's truly amazing.
And both Inc. and Forbes have shared that when it comes to generating revenue, Income Store is a can't miss. To grow your revenue today, check out incomestore.com.
That's incomestore.com.
I'm an Iowa teacher. I fight every day to make sure that the students have real world life skills. My Iowa Bank helps any way I need them to. They have come to my class to be guest speakers. They have welcomed us into the bank. If you don't have a relationship with your bank, you need to make one. I love my Iowa Bank.
More Iowans choose to bank with an Iowa bank. Get to know a real Iowa banker and discover the genuine difference of Iowa banks.
You're listening to AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. I'm Micah Devine. Thanks to my guest, City Councilman Terry Menke, certainly Congressman Steve King, Gail Moore with the Public Health Department. She's a dental hygienist. I want to thank you for listening to this radio program this afternoon. You could have done something else, but you listened here, and I want to say thank you very much. 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the news is next.
If you're a gearhead or not, you'll enjoy the Under the Hood Car Show every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
A deadly shooting at a Florida bank. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. It happened this afternoon southeast of Tampa. The suspect in custody after a SWAT negotiation. Fox's Colonel Scott has more live.
Lisa, police in Sebring, Florida say the gunman, Zephan Zaver, took 5 lives at the SunTrust Bank before contacting police dispatchers saying he fired the shots and then barricading himself inside. Governor Ron DeSantis says in light of the tragedy, state resources will be made available
to assist with the investigation. And obviously, this is an individual that needs to face very swift and exacting justice.
Sebring Police Chief Carl Hoagland says the victims' identities have not yet been released. He says they plan to give out more details at a briefing tomorrow morning, Lisa.
Gernal, the battle over the border wall bleeding over into the State of the Union address. The speech supposed to take place next week, but President Trump says it's canceled and blaming Democrats. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
The president will not be delivering a State of the Union address from the House chamber next Tuesday.
Because government is closed.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says while the shutdown continues, the House will not consider a resolution authorizing the president to give that speech in the House. Instead, she suggests finding a new date after the government reopens. Initially, Pelosi invited the president to give the speech to a joint session of Congress on January 29th, but she says when that invitation was made earlier this month, she did not think the government would still be shut down. Lisa.
Jared, and the president reacting after his former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, announced he's postponing his testimony to Congress because Cohen claims he's been threatened by the president and his current attorney, Rudy Giuliani. The president claims Cohen is postponing the testimony because, as he put it, he's threatened by the truth. Wall Street at the close, major stock indexes ended up slightly higher. The Dow rose 171, the Nasdaq edged up 5. This is Fox News.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. Today's fluctuating interest rates can leave you with unexpected higher mortgage payments. At Quicken Loans, we've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates so you can buy a home with certainty. It's called Rate Shield, and here's how it works. With Rate Shield, you can lock your interest rate while you shop for a new home. So if rates go up, you don't have to worry. And here's the best part. If rates go down, you get the lower rate. With Rate Shield, we really have you covered. Here are more reasons why you'll want to work with America's largest mortgage lender. For 9 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 5th year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Rate Shield, another way we can save you money on your mortgage. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year purchase transactions. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender license in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Less than 2 weeks after Congress repudiated his comments, Representative Steve King will hold the first of his promised 39 Iowa town hall meetings. King announced Wednesday he'll delay a planned meeting Thursday, but hold another event Saturday morning in the small northwest Iowa city of Primgar. Although he's been elected to Congress 9 times, King has rarely held such meetings. He prefers private gatherings with groups, saying public meetings attract out-of-state protesters who object to his conservative views on topics like immigration, race relations, and abortion. King promised to hold meetings in each of his district's 39 counties after narrowly winning re-election last November. On January 15th, the House voted 424-1 to rebuke King for his comments about white supremacy. King supported the measure of disapproval. This week, the Fort Dodge City Council reviewed the budgets for the